What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee, a.k.a. Julio.
Thank you.
We've also got Jacob here from Wisconsin. Hopefully everybody had an awesome day out there on this glorious June the 12th. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, X, Rumble, everything in between, here to talk Packers. Final day of minicamp. It's a sad day, but we all know the next time this team's back together, it's going to be training camp, baby. So got a little bit of a break. We've already got a schedule put together. I wouldn't say a schedule. We got some ideas put together to fill this void over the next month and a half to give you guys Packers content. We may dip a little bit into history. We're going to do chalk talks from top plays from last year. We'll also dive into kind of a quick recap from last year. We're going to do a camp battle series on our Patreon page where we're just going to break down each position group. Here are the camp battles. Here are the positions that are secure. We'll fill that void. Next thing you know, we'll be looking up to be July 23rd training camp will be upon us. Emilio, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good. Glad to be here. Sorry to make it yesterday.
I tell you, man, Pete, you've been in high demand. Everybody asking, "Where's Julio? Where's Julio?" So
yeah, I heard the story. Jacob was over here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you checked your nameplate there, Emilio. I updated it for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Just in case just in case anyone was a little bit confused.
I see it at the bottom now. It's just for us, isn't it? I like it.
No, it's on the screen too.
Yeah. That's
Oh, I see now. Yeah. All right. Good deal, man. I love how the co-hosts understand how this operation works better than the hosts. It's funny how that
goes.
Which, by the way, we do got us a new drop here. We won't let the whole thing play. Let me hit you with it. Doesn't get any better than that, man. I actually, somebody on Twitter, I'm trying to think, Scary, I think his name was Scary Gary. And it was a picture of Rashawn Gary, whoever that was on Twitter, said, "Hey, man, we need that to the Home Depot theme." So there you go. Jacob, you got anything you want to hit on before we jump into this camp talk here, man? As obviously mini camp getting ready to wrap up.
Cornelius Johnson.
Oh, yeah? Let's hear it. Talk to me, man. Let's jump right into it. What you got?
I mean, not much. I hate to be a guy. I just mean, like, it's hard to get excited about yet another wide receiver. So I guess this one's going to be wide receiver like 8 or whatever. But again, it's just the dude's been balling out. Apparently, he had like 2 end zone drill touchdowns, long ball, pretty much everything that Malik Willis is throwing, this dude's catching. But I think it's kind of interesting that we go into the season. We have all these expectations, predictions, and then it's guys like Nicole and Cornelius and other types that I've been hearing a lot about. It's interesting. It's fun. It's early, so I'm not getting too excited here, but it's nice to know that if we have some sort of catastrophic, injury riddled season, that we got some gems in the hopper there.
Something we haven't talked about a whole lot. We obviously have talked extensively about the wide receiver room. Will you carry 5? Will you carry 6? I know at certain portions of the season, the Packers would have 7 on their active roster, or not their active roster, but I guess technically their active roster, depending on how injuries fall into place. But we haven't talked about, are there any guys that might sneak their way onto the practice squad? And as you're talking about Cornelius Johnson, if he can carry over that momentum into training camp, that might be a dude. Let's look at it here real quick as we look at the depth chart. Romeo Doubs, if he's still on the team, right? Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, that's listed as your top 3 here according to our lads. Now, we know how that could go. Christian Watson, obviously, you're not going to break camp with him on the active. Savion Williams will make the team. Dontavion Wicks will make the team. That's 5. Then you got Malik Heath, McCole Hardman, Bo Melton, and Cornelius Johnson, right, battling for that 6th spot. So let's say that they do keep McCole Hardman, and then they try to sneak Malik Heath and Bo Melton onto the practice squad. Cornelius Johnson, I mean, do we carry 3 on the practice squad, Jake? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a tough get there, but I don't know, man. You try to stash all 3 of them on there, and 1 or 2 gets picked up. Maybe Cornelius Johnson is left on the practice squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. There's just so few spots. We're only going to probably carry in 6, for lucky, and then it's going to be about who we can sneak onto the practice squad. I think it's going to be, who are you still rotating? Because that bottom of the roster is always going to get churned by Goody. But I like Jacob's idea. He's all for the gems, and I love that. But I mean, and you got to show up, right? If you have an opportunity when you're on the field, and this is your one chance, you're a walk on, you're whatever, you got signed to the minimum, you want to show up and play out. Those drops, they can't haunt you. You got to get it done, and I mean, he's doing it.
Right, and Greg Rice says Bo teams wide receiver cornerback, saying that Bo would be the one because there's a little extra value there. J. Cole says don't count Hardman out.
It's tough, man.
And, I mean, it really is. Coleman, to me, now let's see if it carries over into training camp, but he is really starting to rise on my list. It's because what are we looking for in this team? You're looking for a little more experience.
Veteran leadership.
Yeah, and to me, he fits that. He kind of fits that bill. And listen, I'm not expecting him to go out there and be a number one or even a number two, but you get a guy that's got really good speed. You've got a guy that can contribute on special teams. It's very, very similar to the comment there about Bo, right? Like now, is Mecole Hardman going to be a gunner? No. And that's where Bo kind of checks the box a little bit more, maybe. Again, I'm not trying to be overly negative, but when I see them moving him around the corner and stuff, I don't look at it like, and I know there's former players that disagree with me on this, but I don't look at it like, yeah, there's extra value. That's got to be the guy. I look at it like they're trying to fit him on this roster somehow, some way, and it kind of feels like they might be running out of options. Am I wrong there? Like, am I being too negative there, you think?
I don't think so. I think that's one of Ryan's biggest things that he always references is that usually isn't a great sign. I don't think it's ever been a good sign, to be honest. Now that I think back over the last few years, usually that indicates that, again, the guy is about to either be cut, let go, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a fair statement to probably think that way.
Man, I've been back and forth on that all day because, like, before, I was like, all right, he's just getting a rep, he's just trying it out, and the only saving grace is there's no pads on, right? He's just kind of backpedaling and swiveling his hips the opposite way rather than running forward and running his routes. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's going into the physical aspect of it, but I think it is kind of, it's tough to see if, you think of that, hey, we're just working him around. We're just trying to get him, reps. But I would love to keep Bo. I'd love that he had that ability as possible, but he's also the one screaming down the field, ready to blow somebody up on a kick,
Right.
Which, like we've talked about, that's different than some of those other receivers. So if you're not a linebacker and you're not a corner or safety, I saw another video. It was Alex Gibbs. It was the old one when he was talking at University of Florida, I think, breaking it down. But, you're going to want to block safeties and make the corners tackle you. Both afraid, and he's a wide receiver to go out and tackle, So that's one thing to keep in mind.
So they're doing this footwork drill. For those who listen on the pod, you can't see the video. There was a video by Rob Domofsky that was filmed at practice today showing the footwork drill, going between the orange cones for the DBs. And I'm telling you, man, I'm not trying to – I want you guys to tell me what you think. Grade these guys' footwork and tell me who you think had the best, okay? Just real quick. Just watch them here. This is – I don't even know who these are. 37, right? Pretty
Same
decent.
field.
Right?
Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
Right? Looking
That's a
pretty
little
solid.
choppy.
He cheated a little bit, right? They're pretty good, right?
Jamal Williams.
Now watch this. Watch this white jersey. This is Bo. Look at his feet.
Yo, he's
Bro,
chopping.
I seen that and I was like, boys, he just crushed that drill. Way better than anybody else just now.
Dude, those things are quick.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? I mean, look at him compared to Nixon. Can you rewind and let Nixon? I mean, don't get me wrong.
No,
I'm
I
not
don't
throwing
think
hate.
Was it Nixon?
Yeah, not him. That's not him. Nixon will be number 2 or 3 here.
I didn't think I seen Nixon, Jacob. Are we
No,
sure?
I thought it was 35, not 25.
Right there. 30.
That's Omar Brown.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
That's okay.
stupid.
Unbelievable.
And then
Unbelievable.
38. Who's 38, boys?
Tremont Williams.
I'll do the same thing, but let's see here. We got numbers 38.
Gregory Jr.
Attaboy.
Got it. Good stuff. All right. So that's Gregory Jr. there, right? And then here we've got 27. Is that
boy.
Home Depot?
Come on now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me just give you just a taste of it here. Okay. Just a little bit here. As Coach LaFleur would say, just a tip. All right. Kill it. That's enough. That's all we need. All right. And again, Bowman just crushed it. So I just got through saying, he's on the cut. And then you see that foot drill. I was like, damn, Bo crushed that drill. So I don't know. Does it matter? Probably not, but worth mentioning, I think. So didn't plan on leading it off with Bo, as I am as exhausted about the Bo Melton talk as everyone else. I think there was a commenter, Blake B, said these OTAs gave me the itch for the season to get here. This is not the one. There was another one marked here. Let me find it. Here we go. Speaking of Wolverines, I know we're tired of the Bo at cornerback talk, but another blueprint for him is Maki Sainristil from the Redskins. Ooh, I said a bad word. People forget he played slot receiver in college from 19 through 21. So very, very interesting there. And then, of course, Blake B went on to say, these OTAs gave me the itch for the season to get here. Nothing to do for the next month and a half except chop it up in here and talk crap about the NFC North and the Eagles. I like that you threw the Eagles in there, Blake.
Right.
You got to always talk trash about the Eagles. So, and nobody takes us serious with that because obviously they got the prize last year. But now, listen, we're gonna take that downtime, and most shows are probably going to shift to a little bit of baseball talk. They'll be talking about Brewers and stuff like that, right? We're going to press into what happened last year, right? Just a quick little refresher from 2024 to get you geared up for 2025. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Mm-hmm. Deadfish says, Packers are in a great position to trade certain players. Not that I'm looking to trade anyone, but we are deep at wide receiver, O-line, and safety. Lots of trade options. And when I see that topic get brought up, guys, I think wide receiver, first person I think of is Romeo Doubs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? O-line, first person I think of is Rasheed Walker, but my response is I don't want to trade him. I'd rather have him ace in the hole if somehow, some way Jordan Morgan beats him out for left tackle. And then, of course, safety room. Let's look at it real quick because I guess it did get deep pretty quick, didn't it? I mean, we've got studs at the top, and there's a little bit of depth there as well. I'm going to drop that down now as we've got at the safety position, Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney. Then you got Katano Ladapo and Zane Anderson, who just lit it up last year. Then you got Omar Brown. So maybe Deadfish is suggesting, hey, what if you try to deal Zane Anderson, I guess? Because I really don't even want to do that. I would rather have two decent backups there at the safety position. So, and we know I don't think we would trade Katano Ladapo. So, Deadfish, I think the only one I would disagree with you on there would be safety. Because even O-line, who knows, Sean Ryan's last year of his contract, they may be looking to, do something with him if you really like the backups there.
The only way that I could see safety being in that option is if they designated Bullard as a straight up safety, don't want him in the slot whatsoever, and don't think he can do it. Now, you guys know was president of the Bullard fan club. Ryan cannot stand Bullard.
And then what, Jacob? Then what, Jacob? Did you give up on my man Bull or what?
No, I'm saying 100%. I don't want to trade Bullard. I'm just saying if that would probably be the only logic you could justify to say we got Evan Williams, we got X, we got Zane, we got Kitano Ladapo, we have Omar Brown, who I think is a sleeper. Mm-hmm. See, yeah, there's what Deadfish saying. Yep. Emilio.
Thinking Bullard was still a safety. Yeah, I'm with you there. And he could play safety, right? However, he played his best football at the nickel spot last year in the slot. And this week, Nate Hobbs missed a little bit of time, but Nate was back this week, so we'll talk about that a little bit. When Nate missed, I want to say what they ended up doing. Let me think here for a second. I think they ended up putting Bull back in the nickel, in the slot, I should say, and they put Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon on the outside.
Right.
So it kind of feels like Keyshawn's slot days are completely gone, right? At least, and again, it's just mini camp. Maybe they're trying that out and they're going back and reviewing the practice tape and going, you know what, guys, now we need to make sure that Hobbs is on the outside. He's not our nickel. But it does kind of feel like they like Hobbs with how he plays aggressive, especially against the run and everything in the slot. I feel really good, Emilio, if Bullard is coming out of the bullpen and for some reason your slot gets beat up, because I thought he played good in the slot. I really did.
I still think I'm leaning towards, I'm still fine with Bullard, even if we want him starting at slot. If you're wanting Hobbs, because I think it was Mike Spofford saying this, I'm not 100%, but he was saying we got four top corners, he would say, and not in any order. You have Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, and Javon Bullard. But he said one of those guys only, or two of those guys only play one position. Like Bullard's only going to play the slot, and Carrington is only going to play on the outside. So you do technically have flexibility, like you were saying. You're not sure about Nixon going back in there, but for him even thinking that, they're the top four, they're going to work around that. You're always going to have Carrington inside. You're always going to have Carrington outside, Bull inside. I think that, you want to have the ability to move your corners around, rotate them, have them come up and down.
Right. And when you look at it here, let's look at his highest graded games. And he didn't finish the season strong. So I can understand where Ryan's coming from here.
Right.
But notice, let's start with his best game of the year. His best game of the year was against San Francisco in 84.9. He was playing slot that game, right? Let's go to his second best game of the year. It was free safety in week 2 of 78.3 against Indianapolis, right? His third best game of the year was week 18, 72.6 in the slot. So 2 of his 3 really good games, he was playing in the slot.
Right.
Now, if we go to his worst game, it looks as if that would be at Detroit, graded out of 30. He was in the slot, though. So
after they just asked him to play strong safety the game before, though.
Yeah. See, that's what I don't like is look at the fluctuation, and I think that is a killer. Trust me. Emilio, did you ever, when you played collegiately in any sport, being able to being asked to play multiple positions makes you look good in the coach's eyes, but it doesn't give you the advantage of perfecting your craft. Does that make sense?
No. Yeah, because even if he's in the DB, it could be the DB room, but what happens when they split and go corners and safeties are going to work on different things? You know what I mean? What reps are you missing there? That's where, you come to the point of, Bo's not getting enough reps here or there, whatever. But if you're asking him to switch weekly, he had 4 at free safety, 3 at slot, 2 at strong, 2 at slot, 1 at strong, 1 at slot, 1 at strong, 1 at slot. You're telling it's kind of, you're still playing football, but he's got so many different responsibilities. Is he a third? Is he a half? Is he playing, cover 4? Is he, man lock? What are they asking him to do per game? And I love that 2 of his, 3 best games were in the last 6 weeks of the season. He got, he was getting better as it went on. And his worst game was that, that Detroit one. He only played 30 snaps too, right?
Yeah.
Total. Yeah. So, it's not great, right? But he was also a rookie, learning everything, new system and all that.
Right. Yeah, we'll see, man. Again, when you have a rookie that has, a few games here where you grade out, that 84.9, guys, that's not normal, right, for a rookie. Right. And the big thing that I want you to key in on, if we were to really key in on the positive here,
tackling.
Notice from
tackling,
week 11 on, week 11 on, his tackle grade was 85, 81, 80, 79, 87, and then dropped back down to a 57 there in Chicago. That does not include the Philly game. Let's throw that in there real quick too. Hopefully it'll load. Yeah, so Philly.
Oof.
Looky there. No. 75.6 PFF grade. That's his overall defensive grade against the Philadelphia Eagles. So that looks even better at slot, right? So and that's the thing. What if they come out in training camp? And the reason I wanted to talk about this a little bit is, what if they come out in training camp and they're trying to really press Nate Hobbs into the slot, and it's him and Javon Bullard battling for the slot spot? And what if Bullard just comes out? Well, it's a second-round pick, guys, right? What if he comes out and just balls out and they go, you know what? That's our slot. And now it comes to, Nate Hobbs is going to start on the boundary if Bullard takes the slot position. There's no two ways about that. If that happens, now it's Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Ballantyne battling for the boundary spot. I kind of feel like Keyshawn would be pissed off and maybe raise a little stink if Carrington beat him out for that spot. But I'll be honest with you, man. I would choose Carrington over Keyshawn in the boundary. I would. Right. Now, like we always say, though, Emilio, injuries are going to answer a lot of these questions for us, unfortunately. It happens every year. So.
That's a great point because, I was going to say, how often have we questioned Keyshawn not getting that first spot? You know what I mean? How often are we saying Keyshawn's going to have it. Now we're bouncing between what's Hobbs and Carrington going to do? I think it's a great question you have to ask is what does happen if he doesn't get there? And what I did like is, they even tried to blitz him earlier in the year too when he had a couple rough games like Miami, LA, Arizona. We'll work him in, see if we like the pass rush. Okay, no. All right, let's put him back there. I think he progressed differently in each kind of section of the season, and then he started putting it together as he got towards the end.
Yeah, makes sense. Anything else on it, Jacob? There, actually, read that comment for me. I'm going to try to pull something else up here on PFF real quick.
Yeah, Mr. Ron Sandville says rough on Bullard when he practiced all week at slot corner and then got thrown in at safety with no reps. That's I don't want to say it's unfair. This is the NFL. You got to be ready to do whatever they ask you to do at any moment in any game, but it totally isn't ideal. That's like practicing for anything, knowing that you're having a certain mission, a certain goal, and at the last second be like, hey, scrap that, go out there and play as good as you can. You'd understand why some of these grades are quite offsetting. I mean, like Emilio said, he just never seemed to have more than 2 or 3 weeks at one position until they completely kind of shake everything up for him. So I have a lot of confidence still in him, especially going into year 2. That tackling grade really does give me a lot of confidence as well, just with how willing he is to get up there. If you add that with the likes of a guy like Hobbs, and I think CV, he's not the biggest guy, but he's willing to come in there, and you throw in the safety play, we could have a really good tackling defense, man, in that secondary, which we've lacked.
And when you take a jump like we did last year to the second best run defense in the league, you got to step back and go, why did we do that? Right. Well, we talked about the pass rush extensively, how it was a controlled pass rush. You could tell they were really keyed in on the run more so than the pass and rushing the passer. But the other thing that sticks out is your slot defender, the majority of the games, was a tackling machine, tackling fuel, right? Javon Bullard played a huge role in that run defense getting better because you're in that nickel the majority of the time, probably 70% of the time. As Brambo says, CB is solid. Again, let's look at it. When you say Keyshawn Nixon or Carrington Valentine on the outside, the contract would suggest Keyshawn's going to play out there. Although Keyshawn's contract isn't like $10 million per, right? Or is it like $6 million, I think, something like that? And if the goal is get the best player on the field, and obviously you don't want to have that progress stopper out there, we already talked about passer rating when targeted. Carrington torched it, right? He also gave up 0 touchdowns last year. Keyshawn gave up 5, right? Now, okay, well, let's go to the PFF grades. You go to the PFF grades, who's the top corner? Carrington Valentine, a 65.5. Keyshawn right behind him at a 64.1. So, and again, that's overall defensive grades. Imagine if you remove the 92.7 pass rush grade of Keyshawn, where they fired him on the nickel blitz a couple of times, right? And he hit home. Now go back and now let's look at coverage grade. Carrington Valentine's coverage grade was a 71.4, and Keyshawn's was a 60.7. So at some point, you got to acknowledge passer rating when targeted checks the box. Staying healthy, check the box. Coverage grade checks the box. Like everywhere you look with Carrington Valentine, there's something that goes, that might be a dude. Then I go back to the Doug Farrar tweet from a couple of nights ago where he tweeted, I don't know how the Packers got this dude in the 7th round. Like he said it was larceny is the word he used.
I know if I had to be devil's advocate here, I would point out that Keyshawn Nixon had almost double the snap count that Carrington did. Absolutely. So I think that should at least be weighted a little bit. But
right in the run defense, you got to be happy that he's sticking his nose in there. Maybe that's something Carrington can work on. But like Clay was saying, how much is that 92 swinging that grade?
Yeah, and keep in mind too with the run defense grade, Carrington is on the outside, right? He's on the boundary, and Keyshawn was in the slot a good chunk of the season as well.
Hey, so I know the snaps are limited, but if you do look at the top 10 rankings here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 safeties. So I kind of understand that feeling of, wow, Deadfish is like, we got a couple we can spare.
True.
It's impressive.
It is, man. So if we sorted by coverage grade, if it'll let us, all right, here we go. So just coverage grade.
Wow.
Xavier McKinney 90. Okay. Edgerrin Cooper 77. Aaron Mosby, you got to throw that one out. Obviously, he's an edge defender, so 75. Zane Anderson only had 122 total defensive snaps. He has 75 coverage snaps, 75 PFF coverage grade. Carl Brooks, throw it out. Evan Williams, 73. Carrington Valentine, 71. Devontae Wyatt had 7 coverage snaps.
Dog.
I thought Joe Barry was the only person that dropped big defensive tackles in the covers. That's weird. Katano Ladapo, 68. He had 45 coverage snaps and graded out of 68. Pretty impressive there. Now, Nate Hobbs last year, 61. So that does worry you a little bit. What if you do throw him out on the boundary, you might find yourself in trouble. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I'm eager to see if Greg Rossfire. I'm eager to see if Nate Hobbs returns back to his rookie year form, because that dude graded out in the 80s his rookie year,
Right.
if I remember correctly. So, and again, that was when Bisaccia was there as the coach. And listen, it does matter with scheme. It really does. That's why you get some players that. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and it was breaking down. I think his name was Ndiche, if I remember correctly. Robert Ndiche or Gadiche. I can't remember how you say it. He was the number one prospect coming out of high school the year that he went to, I think it was Ole Miss. This dude, when they do their grading system, you guys seen me show the on-3 composite grade and all that, and it's
Right.
like, anything like above 90 is excellent. You get above 95, you're like, okay, that's like, these are top of the tier. This guy's great. He broke the scale. 101 was his grade. Okay. He goes to Ole Miss, didn't get off to a fast start. Second year was even worse. Got in trouble. They said he jumped out of a window drunk or something one night. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah. Jacob said, we've all done that. Come on. So he ends up getting drafted. I think it was I want to say it was by the Cardinals. And then next thing you know, there was other substances involved, and he got out of the league. Now he's out of football completely. I say that because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the right people around you and you don't have that it factor, you know what I'm saying? It can really, really hinder your ability to not just get better, but also perform on the field. If that's the case with someone like Nate Hobbs, you've seen that first year balled out, and then after that, we know Las Vegas has been kind of a dumpster fire ever since, right? So maybe he comes in here with Coach Half, Jacob, and he returns back to that form. One thing's for sure, we've seen the ceiling. We've seen what he can be. We've seen the potential. Just go back and watch his rookie tape, and I'm telling you, it's phenomenal.
Was that rookie year, if I'm not mistaken, was that where he played predominantly on the boundary or the not in the slot? I for some reason, my brain is telling me that was the thing.
Let me see if it'll pull it up in a separate page.
Man,
that's
fifth out of 116. That is crazy.
Yeah. Let's see if it'll show us by year. Oh, it's not showing specifically where he lined up, Jacob. Although with the pass rush being 20 pass rush reps, that would probably be the slot. So it looks like he might have played the slot his rookie year. And then with only 3 pass rush reps.
Wait, go to see if you can't change the year on the top right there.
Yeah, I think you can.
Where's that up top?
Yeah.
2024 drop down box right above
It'll be
coverage.
21, right?
Yep.
Let's see here. Yeah, so he was slot all year long in 21.
Okay.
So he graded out 79. I thought it was an 80, but it was a 79. So I apologize for that. So yeah, his rookie year, he played slot and graded out a 79. All right. Now we go to 22. He's playing the boundary now, and he dropped to a 60.9. Okay. And then in 23, Nate Hobbs was back to the slot, and he graded out 69. So, pretty good improvement from the year before.
Okay.
Again, not quite to his rookie year. And then last year, he played everywhere. He played outside, then he played the slot for 6 straight games, and he played strong safety 2 games, back to the slot, then back to strong safety. So they didn't know what the hell to do with him last year.
Well, and again, that's kind of the same thing that Bullard had. He didn't have a place to call home and ended up, being spread too thin. That gives me more excitement that he could be a really good slot then.
That kind of leads to. Did you listen to Isaiah Simmons' interview, Jacob, or no?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you listen to Simmons' interview on Packers?
The linebacker?
The presser, yeah.
No, I did not.
Oh, he was talking about how Hafley's kind of put him in a spot that he, can excel in, right? He's been playing a little Will, little Sam, flip-flopping between the two, but instead of like the Giants asking him to go kind of, everywhere, this way, that way, wherever, Hafley's like, all right, I want you to stick at one thing that I want you to do great. And, I want to put you in the best position to succeed. I think that's just the same exact thing we got to do here with Nate Hobbs, because we're all still sitting here like, all right, is it going to be Keyshawn Hobbs who's going out there? Who's going to best succeed? Is Bullard going to play slot? That's all we need to do is just put them in their best option, give them a good shot. If it doesn't work out, then we can react.
As I was going through that, could y'all see that on the screen? You couldn't, could you?
No, but that's not.
Here's his rookie year. I apologize for that. And I won't go through the numbers for podcast purposes again, but you could kind of see the 79.1 and where he graded out. His run defense, look at that run defense right there, 91.7 against Washington.
I like it.
Tackle grades looking great. Yeah, it feels like he's a slot. So let's pencil him in for the slot spot. And it looks like Bullard is going to be kind of that guy in reserve, right, at the slot, and also battling for safety, although I think Evan Williams will probably beat him out. You feel a lot better about the secondary, although you did lose Jair Alexander, you know?
Right.
I mean, you think about that. You just bolstered the slot position. One thing this tells me with the whole letting Jair walk and refusing to pay him that $17 million, what it tells me is they believe in Carrington Valentine. There's no two ways about it. So if you've got the coaching staff making decisions that would lead you to believe, all right, man, that's their dude. They really like him. And then you bring in Nate Hobbs to the slot, and you got Keyshawn that you feel like played better on the outside. Let's do this same experiment if I can. That may be difficult. I was going to go to Keyshawn and see how much better he played outside. Because am I wrong? Did you guys feel like Keyshawn played better outside last year?
No, I think that I would put a little bit more hope on him outside. The two-way goes for him on the inside. I just didn't love.
Okay.
Yeah. I struggle with what I think about Keyshawn Nixon, to be honest. It's not that I don't
Jacob,
like
what
him.
are you trying to say?
No, it's not that I don't like him or anything like that. It's just that he's never impressed me drastically at any position other than kick returner. And he seems to really want to pull away from that. But I just still don't quite trust his ability in the slot versus guys that we've already paid and drafted. And I kind of would potentially, I'll say root for, but I'd kind of maybe the word is root for other guys on the outside, like maybe let's say a Kalen King, a Micah Robinson, Greg Jr., somebody that can maybe surprise us, that has a little more youth, a little more quickness, speed, agility. Like Emilio was talking about, he seems to kind of maybe trip over his feet sometimes when he gets has to cover more twitchy receivers. But that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, so as soon as I click on Keyshawn's page, it won't load now. So everything was working just fine. I was like, all right, they got PFF up and running finally. No, wrong. I was going to see if we could pull up and see where he played his best football here. If you guys want to hit the chat for just a second, I'm going to try it one more time because I think that would be very, very interesting to see how well he played.
I think the good comment from Coach Len, he says, as a whole, our DB room improved, but it still kills me. We lost a playmaker and a difference maker like Ja. And I would agree with that. But the problem is
when he's there, right?
When he's there. And it's almost a 50-50 shot the last 4 or 5 years as to whether or not that guy is going to be the type of difference maker and playmaker that you expect. And I will say again, I think it was Ryan's pod. They went through like a breakdown of like every incident / injury that he's had over the last like 5 years. And there's a lot more stuff there than I remembered. And a lot of it was very troubling as far as maybe not playing when he could, playing in certain situations where they're the end of the year playoff implications or actually in playoff games, pulling up, not making those types of plays. So I would push back just a little bit on that, but I understand the mentality there, Coach.
Yeah. Here's Keyshawn's PFF grades from last year, guys. And again, we've talked about the passer rating we targeted. It was Cheeks. We talked about the 5 touchdowns he gave up. It was Cheeks, right? But let's talk specifically position-wise. He played the slot corner position weeks 1 through 4. Here were his grades: 73, 52, 62, 56. Okay. Then he bounces outside for the next what is that? 1, 2, 3, roughly 10 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Here's his grades now: 61, 64, 65. 46, 59, 45, and then against San Fran, 83, against Miami, 73, against Detroit, 76, and then he went back to the slot and tanks at 54, stayed in the slot 60. That's when Bullard got hurt, I believe, if I remember correctly, and then back outside to a 51, stayed outside to a 63, and let's see if we can get that up, what he did in the postseason there. A 57 playing outside against Philly. So it's one of those things, like he was really starting to settle in outside, was he not?
Right.
83, 73, 76. And Emilio, it's right back to the same conversation we're having about Bullard. Then they start moving him around and it's like crap hits the fan, you know?
Yep. And he had a rough spot there. What's that run defense against Detroit? At least his number was a little better, but Bullard was a 30 there, right? So maybe Key got his head out of the way a little bit on the outside and Bullard to take the L, but with his number there. But you're right, he's he's showing up. But again, we're bouncing back and forth. I love that, Haft's putting him in the spot that's, going to help him succeed, and Key's willing to play those spots as as the team needs him. But I think he really does want to be on the outside. Like looking at his left, outside corner reps compared to his slot reps, let's keep him outside. God forbid he's our third, slot that can jump in if we need to.
Yeah, for sure. Chris Casual N says Ja played less than 40% of the defensive snaps in the last 4 years. I feel like every time we talk about the number goes down. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, was he really out that much? I guess he was. So, and I know there's people that are like, oh, that's crazy to think that the cornerback room got better. I'm telling you, man, the guy wasn't on the field. And anybody who thinks that Ja played just flawless, he was the perfect football player, go back and watch week 1 against Philly. And I think you're going to be like, oh, yeah. Boy. Even the interception, I guarantee you got a negative grade on. The interception, he was supposed to be in a spot drop zone, and he just breaks completely off of his zone and goes to the back of the end zone and picks the ball off. And you think, oh, great instincts, great this. I'm telling you right now, if Jalen Hurts doesn't throw that football, and then if he pump fakes to the back of the end zone and throws underneath to where Ja was supposed to be, it was 6. And the coaches aren't going to look at that and go, Ja, do whatever you want to do. That great play. That's not how they look at that. So I just don't think he was as flawless as people say he was. However, there's no doubt he was the best corner on our team. I believe that when he's on the field. Problem is he ain't been on the field. And then Ed Madden says, Nixon's pretty solid but not spectacular. I think he has improved every year. I agree with that. I think Nixon has gotten better every year.
Do you think that he needs, like, our corners need to be playing every rep of every game, or do you think that they could be on a rotation as well? Like our 3 outside corners between Hobbs, Valentine or Nixon rotating, or it's, Hobbs and Bullard rotating?
Emilio, I was just going to ask almost the same question, but did we just learn unintentionally that Hafley / the defensive unit, their goal going in to be get guys into their positions early and keep them there for a prolonged amount of time, and don't switch them up, and let's see what we got after 4, 5, 6 weeks. And if you have to adjust then do that, make small adjustments with this whole musical chairs thing in the secondary. I get certain benefits of it on paper, but logically you can see that it doesn't seem to correlate with good numbers.
Right.
Good point. I don't think they were trying to rotate guys around last year. I know y'all wasn't saying that either, but I think it was just those injuries. They kept popping up, and you'd have to. And that was the frustration with Ja was the beat reporters made it very clear that the coach's frustration, and you could hear it. Matt LaFleur, like at one point, said, "I'm done talking about it, guys." Like they were frustrated because their staff felt like he could play, and Ja would go out there and couldn't play. So it's like there was a little disconnect there. That they felt like Ja was healthy enough to play. And then I heard Chewy talking about this on Jen gave it Chewy on Milwaukee, ESPN Milwaukee. He's like, there's a difference between, this is an old program quote. If you guys have never seen the movie The Program, they said when the freshman running back gets hurt and fumbles or whatever, he goes, "Are you injured or are you hurt?" And he said, "What's that mean?" And he said, "Well, if you're injured, you can't play. If you're hurt, you could still play." And he, "I think I'm just hurt." And he's like, "All right, let's go, get up." Like that's a real thing in the NFL. And what Chewy said was, him refusing to play, and he was 93% healthy. He said, "That's the NFL. You've got to be able to play when you're banged up." He said, "Newsflash, nobody's fully healthy."
Right.
So if he's only willing to go out there when he's fully healthy, that's tough look, man.
Got it out for AFAM there, Jacob.
I was hoping that was why.
AFAM said that I never mind. I'm not even going to.
Don't feed the trolls, Emilio.
I said it once in my head, and it wasn't going to come out right. So we'll go ahead and keep on moving.
Better guy than I am.
And I see Solder's hot tub comment. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but I will say this, and this is a little controversial. It does blow my mind how, I don't want to say this.
No, they're both going to stop saying what they're going to say.
Yeah. You know what?
It does blow my mind how vocal ex-players are about people getting in trouble, getting suspended, this and that. when you go back and look at them, you go, Bub, you were accused of doing a lot worse. What are we even talking about? I believe I just showed. That'd be like me going to a a college university to a scholar and telling them, let me show you how the English language works. You know what I mean? It's not a good idea for old Clay.
Let me learn you real quick, sir.
Let me learn you what you guys are missing here. So anyway, I did not have this in the show notes to talk wide receiver depth and slot defender for the first hour of the show, but this was a good conversation, man. This was fun. I'm glad we brought it up. Anything else you guys want to add to that before we wrap up hour one?
Not really, other than the fact that, again, I will go on record saying that if I was in charge of the defense of the Packers, which thankfully will never happen, I would totally want to focus on the fact that I want to find my guy's position, and then I want him to stick there for as long as possible. And I also want to not let progress stoppers get in the way of maybe a Micah Robinson, a Kalen King, even a Jonathan Baldwin, a Greg Jr. If they're the best, put them out there. I don't care if we just paid Nate Hobbs. I don't care if Keyshawn's got an ego. I want the best rotation out there, period.
Could not agree more. Unfortunately, Jacob, you and I do not think the same way as coaches. Maybe it's fortunate. As coaches and GMs, they want their high prospects out there, right? Yeah. Their high round picks, and they want the guys that they spent money on to be on the field. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just like we refuse to believe that they're not the best out there. I think it's they're trying to pull that potential out of those players that they obviously seen, or else they wouldn't have paid them big money. They wouldn't have drafted them high, that type of thing. So I don't think it's as much ego. It's probably some ego, but I don't think it's as much ego as it is. We know what their potential is. And we sit here and talk about progress stoppers all the time, and that's the reality of the situation. If you put those guys out there that you think are better than this person who could potentially be even better on down the road, then you are, by definition, stopping that progress. So I think it's just a fine line you got to kind of walk. But I'm with you, man. Like I don't give a rat's ass where they were drafted, who they play. They could play for Podunk University. If that's a better player on that day, put them out there. I'll tell you a good example, and then we'll get to hour two. If you go back and watch America's game, it was the 67 year, right, where the Ice Bowl. Chuck Mersine, they brought in Chuck Mersine from Yale, and he, not just for that game, but they signed him like a good portion through the season. They get into the Ice Bowl, and Lombardi told Chuck Mersine, hey, this is the reason I brought you here. And Chuck Mersine was just dominant in that game. He was tough as nails, right? And he's the one in the famous picture of him holding his hands up, and they think he's signaling a touchdown, but he's actually signaling he wasn't pushing Bart Starr in the end zone. The very next game, the Super Bowl, because that was basically the NFL championship, and then they went on to the AFL NFL championship game against, I can't remember who they played. I think it was the Chiefs, maybe. But whoever it was they played, they benched him the next game. He came off the game of his career in the Ice Bowl, right? After the Giants kind of cut bait and left him out to dry. And then all of a sudden Lombardi goes, you know what? This is the guy better for this specific game in this game plan. That's a perfect example of, hey, I don't care who it is. Whoever gives us the best shot to win the game, let's get them on the field. So now, granted, that was a long time ago. Things have changed too, right? That was what? I don't even know how many years ago that was now, 1967. How old were you in 67, Emilio?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How old was your dad in 67? Was he even thinking about a young Emilio yet? When was he born?
Dude, I don't even know. He was probably I want to say he's like 3, maybe something like that.
There you go. Emilio's a young whippersnapper. I'm telling you. What is it you call your dad?
Essay.
I love it. Essay. You got it, man. You got it. Every time he talks about his dad. Love it. All right, that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two. We're going to actually talk about what happened at minicamp practice today. We appreciate y'all.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome in hour two. Let's get into some minicamp talk. I almost said training camp, man. I'm so excited about training camp.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Look at you trying to do your best Tim impersonation. So this was obviously just a quick clip here of Matt LaFleur and Goody out there on the practice field today. I want to say it's kind of cool that in the past they've used this day 3 of mandatory minicamp to kind of do a team activity. And Matt LaFleur chose, no, we're going to practice this year. And I heard people in the media commenting and making little remarks. So it wasn't really a practice. This was the softest practice they had so far. They didn't hardly do anything. I think it's more about the message, Emilio, that Matt LaFleur setting a tone like, hey, this is a different year, guys, right? Like there's urgency. Goody talked about urgency in the offseason. I know many people would disagree with his actual actions, but I still don't understand that, to be honest with you. I mean, my God, those same fans that are complaining that Goody isn't serious about winning a Super Bowl were the same ones complaining that we spent so much money in free agency on those two players, right? And Nate Hobbs and Aaron Banks. So it's like, you disagree with the people they signed, but don't sit here and BS me and pretend like they didn't do anything. They went out and spent some money they got 2 starters in free agency. That's what they did. Possibly 3 if Mecole Hardman really rises to the occasion. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, though, with this message that Matt sent today, Emilio, it's like, hey, look, urgency. Forget the team activity. We're not going to go paintballing. We're not going to go bowling. We're gonna practice. We're going to set this thing off right. You guys go into break on the right note, and maybe just get a little bit more information on where players may or may not fit into this starting lineup.
Right. I think that's a great point. My only pushback would be I was listening to Move the Sticks with DJ and Buck, and they had John Gordon on, and he was talking, I guess he's written a lot of books about, being a coach and stuff like that and how to lead, things like that. His one point that I guess stuck with me now that you brought this up was just that if you're going to have, like, you can get more out of one day of camaraderie than you can out of one day of practice. So building that camaraderie with the team, I think that we're in a different spot though here in Green Bay. Like Wyatt was saying in his interview, obviously there's not a lot to do in Green Bay, but that brotherhood, like Kenny's inviting us over to our house. We're hanging out with each other a lot outside of just as practice in the stadium and stuff. So that's you get a college feel. Like after practice, we're going back to your house, we're going to play Fortnite, whatever. That's the kind of feeling that you get. So maybe they don't need as much, like you were saying, paintball, stuff like that. Even though I would run a couple paintball games, that would be a good time.
Bro, but better than paint.
But no, I get it because, hey, you're walking that fine line of, all right, we do have a lot of camaraderie on this team, which I love, but we still need to focus. And what's our goal? Wyatt said it. Our Super Bowl's our goal. I'm sure Isaiah Simmons singing the same thing. Everyone that's kind of talking that's what we're leading to. That's what we're chasing. That's why we're putting in this work right now.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that there, Jacob? Anything at all?
No, that sums it up about
Can
as well.
I just say they have some crispy white shoes? I mean, those things are sparkling, dude.
Who was that with those?
Matt and Goody, both of them. I mean, those things were just blinding. And they wear the black pants too, so it's just like, can we make the shoes pop anymore? Let's get them some green ones or some yellow ones.
I'm a sucker for the white shoes, man. I'm just telling you right now. Like I'm the white Air Force One guy. I've got like 6 pairs of Air Force Ones, and they're all the same. So, whitest sneaker award as
remember the Dundays.
Yeah, who did you give that to? Phyllis, right?
Pam, Pam and her kids.
Sorry, yeah, that's right.
That was the extra drink episode too, and extra drink.
Yeah.
So good news today. Nate Hobbs is back at practice. Listen, I don't think anybody was overly concerned. I do know that Wildy, while live on Wildy and Tausch earlier today, cut himself off mid-sentence as he was reporting from the sideline and said Nate Hobbs with a great play on the sideline there. So evidently a deep ball, some kind of ball, mid-range ball on the sideline, made a play on the ball. I've heard nothing but positive things about him other than missing yesterday, and I don't know if it was a personal matter or what it may or may not have been, but this was Wes Hokowitz tweeted this out and put Nate Hobbs back at practice. Jaden Reed, Kamal Hadden, and Omar Brown are new non-participants so far. So you got Quay Walker, Aaron Banks, Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, John Williams, Christian Watson, Kalen King, Micah Robinson, somebody named Anderson, Colin Oliver, Zane Anderson, right?
There we go.
Yeah. Colin Oliver and Hicks also out. Okay, so pretty extensive list. I want to ask you guys about Quay real quick, and we're going to get back to Nate Hobbs. I've seen some people asking, is Quay hurt? Is Quay hurt? Is that why he's missing, or is it contractual? Has anybody heard anything on that? Is Quay, because he hurt his ankle at the end of the year. I assumed he'd be good by now, but we got kind of this big mystery, and I haven't heard anybody ask. None of the beat reporters, to the best of my knowledge, have asked, hey, is Quay hurt and he's just hanging out with or is he hurt? Is why he's with the rehab group, or is he hanging out with the rehab group the same reason Elton Jenkins is, because it's like contractual. Because remember, they chose to not pick up Quay's 5th-year option, right? When they have Devontae Wyatt. And I understand why they didn't pick up Quay's. I think we would all agree with that decision. So Holmes in the chat said Quay is hurt according to Andy Herman. Okay. Yeah. So I'm assuming that they told everybody he was hurt.
What I would say was
not just the fact that he was over with the rehab group, because just because you're with the rehab group doesn't mean you're hurt. Like I said, that's where Elton's been hanging out the most.
Right. I think Ron was kind of leading to it right here. Matt's answer about Quay being ready for camp was kind of non-committable. So like when it was more of out of I think it was Willie that was asking, but out of those guys that were, not practicing, hurt, injured, whatever it was, of what is their status leading into, coming into training camp? Where do you think they're going to be at? Is it going to be something that is going to affect them for training camp? And Matt was, kind of along the lines of like, yeah, I'm not sure about that right now. We'll see what happens, sort of thing.
Got it. To me, I feel like probably 90-95% it's Quay's banged up, but there's still a part of me that's like, I could see them not wanting to talk about, hey, we're trying to get a contract done. Because I do think they want to re-sign him for the right price, And the crazy thing about that is going off what some stack backers have gotten that are kind of that hybrid, just physical freaks. I think we would all agree Quay has underperformed. He hasn't performed like a first-round pick, right? If he was a third-round pick, we'd all love him. We're like, man, this guy was a great, great draft pick. But the reality is he was a first-round pick. But if you look across the league at some of those extra dynamic linebackers, some that graded out pitifully, according to PFF, and I can't think of his name now. There was one, I think he was in Tampa for a bit. It may have been somewhere else. He got paid big bucks, and I was like, boy, I don't think he deserves that kind of contract. But when you're a physical freak, teams are willing to overpay for that. So I'd say Quay's camp's looking at it like, hey, we should get a significant payday here. And the Packers are kind of looking at it the way we are, like, I mean, come on, let's not sit there and pretend like you're Fred Warner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything you guys want to add to that there? If not, we'll move on. I want to say I had another video of Nate Hobbs indoors doing a little bit of workout just to kind of show. Yeah, let's just jump right into that here. So this was him indoors just to kind of get an idea of as he was back at practice, just throwing the old medicine ball around. I love him wearing 21, by the way. I love that. So Nate Hobbs, I think, is ready to go. There's not going to be any kind of limitation at all going into training camp. Everything I've heard, too, like you heard Evan Williams talking about Nate Hobbs the other day. It was like, this dude, he's a dog. Like, it sounds like he's going to bring that energy to the room, Jacob. He's going to be one of those guys that obviously got to do it on the field, but having lost Jair Alexander, if we hadn't signed Nate Hobbs, I would be a lot more like the majority of I don't want to say the majority of the fan base, that portion of the fan base that's concerned that we lost Jair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And obviously it's just a wait and see type period, but the kind of money that they gave him, it's nice to see him. I don't think that they maybe consciously or verbally said it out loud to him, but I think the whole Jair situation, as he's being brought into the organization, saying, hey man, we're gonna let arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL go. We're gonna release him because he cannot stay healthy. And very quickly Mr. Nate Hobbs is like, all right, I can go. All right, I want to make this team again. I always scratch my head. There's been multiple players going into either OTAs, practice camps, mini camps, preseason, for whatever reason, don't feel like they need to be there practicing with their guys or expect that they even need to like compete to earn a spot on the 53. I love what I'm seeing out of Hobbs. That if I can go, we just touched on it earlier. I mean, is he injured or is he hurt? All right, if you're just hurt, let's go. Suck it up. People get hurt every day. You know how many times I've fallen off the pole? God.
That's true. Bust a lip.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast story really. All right. This is I thought this was really cool. ML Football had tagged me in this earlier today. And I just put high character guys, that's the Packers way. As he tweeted this out, it says, wholesome. Packers standout cornerback Nate Hobbs received a letter from his high school chemistry teacher. The teacher wrote, quote, see that hard work in chemistry paid off. Ha ha. Hobbs wrote back, I think I might be most proud of this. I used to be a knucklehead. Now look.
Okay.
Did I read that right or no?
Nah, the edit button would have been in handy there, Mr. Hobbs. But
Well, that's the thing. This is ML Football's tweet, so maybe he's.
Oh yeah, ML Football. Come on.
Yeah. So here's the letter. I'm going to read the letter. It's not very long, but I think this is cool. So again, this is from his high school, right? High school chemistry teacher. Okay. Mr. Hobbs, wake up and pay attention is what it says at the top. Does that sound familiar? Think back to Mel high school chemistry class. Seriously, this is Mr. G, your old chemistry teacher from Mel. If you remember seeing Packers posters on the wall, I was and still am a very big Packer fan. I was born in Green Bay. I learned while watching the draft that the Packers had signed you in the offseason. That is awesome. Now you're playing for the best team in all of sports. I had followed your career at the Raiders and watched and rooted for you every time the team was on, except when you played the Packers. Now, of course, I hope that you can help us get to the Super Bowl. I watched the interview you gave when you got to Green Bay. It was really good. I especially liked it when you gave thanks to God for blessing you with talent, family, and a good contract. My wife and I always say to each other, God is great every day, and every day God is great. I'm going to try and get to a game in Green Bay this year and to congratulate you on being a Packer. I'm also going to see you when you play in Denver. I have now retired from Mel High School and now live in Colorado Springs, but still a lifelong Packer fan. Once again, I just want to say congratulations on still being in the NFL and being a Packer. See that hard work and chemistry paid off. May God bless you and keep you, Mr. G. And that's so. I guess it was Hobbs put. I think I might. That's right. I think I might be most proud of this. I used to be a knucklehead. Now look. So I thought that was cool, man. That you leave that kind of impression on somebody. And again, just another player on the Packers roster. Am I the only one that sees this common theme with the Green Bay Packers roster? How many of them mention God and mention their faith?
Isaiah Simmons said it in his presser today. He was, like just being blessed by God and putting him first. All that stuff is, yeah. I
love it. And again, when Goody got the job, what did he say? The first thing I want to do is thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Right? He mentioned it. I think Matt LaFleur said something about it at the time that when he got the job. Of course, Matt LaFleur was a mess. He was up there crying. It pissed Jacob off. He's like, "This is my head coach. He's crying. What's he doing?" So I don't know, Jacob. This seems like a Packer to me, man.
Yeah, I've heard it recently from Gary, from X, from Josh Jacobs, and they're not like in your face with it. You know what I mean? Right. Trying to beat you over the head with it, but it's always appropriate. It's always just kind of a little bit, throw that in there just to let you know where they stand, where we stand. I personally love it. I think that as you can, I've always said I wish there was a metric that could judge a guy's character, much like an RAS score, because I swear. Not taking the Lord in vain, but I swear to the Lord that they would probably have most of that roster on a 9 or 10 of that, whatever you want to call it, the good guy score, community guy score, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, no, you can tell it's the type of guys they look for.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now, Amelia would be a 1 or a 2 on that scale, but
yeah. Isaiah Simmons, he was saying he goes, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. He goes on, and when the Giants put me in that position. And I looked at myself in the mirror and said, I'm going to make that decision hard for any coach moving forward. So I, love that attitude, love that mentality.
Yep. Yeah. And since you brung him up, I don't know, he may mention it here. I doubt it. It's a short clip from Matt Schneiden. Matt Schneiden tweeted out, Isaiah Simmons speaks with Green Bay media for the first time. Here he discussed why Jeff Hafley is a good fit for him. Simmons had said his time with the Giants lit a fire under him. Let's see what Isaiah Simmons had to say. And, if you guys can't hear it on the podcast, well, you'll hear it on the podcast. If you guys can't hear it here live, I apologize. Try to crank it up here if it's hard to hear. It's just about 20 seconds long.
And I just feel like Habs defense just fits me better just with how my skill type was, how I came, like more so like how I kind of played in college. He was in college recently, so that could be a part of it. But I just like his vision, his creativity. I feel like I need to be with the guy who's creative. So kudos to him for that.
All right, so you're getting a guy that's motivated, and like you said, Emilio, someone who kind of sounds like he's pretty well grounded there as well. Isaiah Simmons is very similar to what we said about Quay Walker. Isaiah Simmons was the 8th overall pick, right? if he hadn't been the 8th overall pick, if he'd been drafted in the 3rd or 4th round, people would be talking about how, wow, this guy has been a really good NFL player. Like, he's been solid. But when you get taken in the top 10, boy, the expectations are through the roof. And another guy that you could see with this signing, yeah, they want him to fit into that third sackbacker role. Whether he'll beat out Tyron Hopper or not, time will tell. Or Isaiah McDuffie as well. But he's going to be a hell of a special teams player as well,
Right. Yeah, and to his toughest battles, to his strongest soldiers comment, I mean, that's it. He was picked number 8 overall. He's bounced between teams. He's been asked to do this, and that. He's been asked to cover. He was saying that it was either in New York or in Arizona. He was basically playing corner. Like, they had him repping against wide receivers, not tight ends and running backs, right? So the dude has been, kind of just stretched thin. It's like you just, took him from every angle and just kind of pulling him apart. Let's kind of put him back together, put him in one spot and give him a shot. He was laughing, he's excited that he's just covering tight end and backs now and just giving him a shot to actually play, and be a linebacker again.
And this is another guy too. I didn't even think about this, but he has played some safety. So if you get into a pinch, and he is on your 53-man roster, if you get into a pinch where for some reason the safety room is banged up or the cornerback room let's say, God forbid this happen. I hope this doesn't happen. I don't even want to say it, but these are the type of things that do happen in season sometimes. What if Nate Hobbs goes down with an injury for a couple of weeks and Javon Bullard has to plug in at safety, and then Evan Williams goes down, right, at safety, and now you got Zane Anderson or Oladapo in there. Right. If one of those guys breaks a shoestring or something and they have to come out of the game, Isaiah Simmons can fill into that role a little bit, right? He's versatile enough that you could pop him back there. And so now you got a guy who can probably rush the quarterback a little bit with his athletic ability. He can play stack backer. He can play safety in a pinch, and he might very well be your special teams ace. So,
yeah, no, I think it's a great point because having that ability, best ability is availability, and if you're available and a multi-talented, player, and it's not like we're asking him to do those reps. He's previously been, dragged across and into having to do those reps. So when we ask on him, it's not, he's hooking us up, right? It's not like he's, mad about doing it. He's like, no, I want to do it to help the team. Put me out there as safety coach. Not, man, I'm dreading going out there as safety because I've, been playing cornerback. I just want to go in and play backer,
Yeah. Holmes MD1 at some point. Little special request here. He said, I could find it.
Oh.
You think God never farted?
That's all right. Appreciate you, Amelia. See, I gotta have more faith in you, man.
Dude, I'm not Tim, but I'm trying to be. I'm like 60% of Tim.
No, none of us are Tim. Tim is the glue that holds this thing.
He really is.
Yeah. So Rob Domofsky put this tweet out earlier today. One last look at Jordan Love in minicamp. Next time you'll see him on the field is when training camp opens on July 23rd. Can we just talk about this dot right here on this out route? And that's Romeo Doubs. I mean, look at the chemistry, the timing that Romeo Doubs and him have. Actually, it already played through, so he's looping it, isn't he? That's what he's doing. Let's go back to the first one. Watch this dot. It's going to be an out route, right? Watch Rome. Little jab step in, work himself out. Look at that throw. Can't throw it anymore. Right on the money. Let's see the second throw here. I think this is out of the backfield. Is that Marshawn Lloyd that catches this pass?
Looks like it.
No, that's Emmanuel Wilson.
No, it's Emmanuel. I like that though. It looked kind of like it looked like a swing route, and then they really sharpened it off, kind of turned that into a Texas right there. Mm-hmm. He's like swinging out wide, and then nope, I'm cutting right back. That's something I would be doing, online when I'm trying to just get around the user.
And we call that a cut route. Some call it a cut. No, it's not quite a stab. No, V. On my list, on my board here, you can see the running back routes in the bottom right.
Okay.
It's actually called a V is what they call it.
We need to get that thing scanned and put it on here so we can go through that.
I got to. And that's the other thing I'm going to do this year too, guys. I'm making a lot of promises that I probably
we didn't make this list.
I'm trying to make sure we can do as much for the Patreon group as we can. We appreciate y'all being a part of that. What I'd like to do in season, when we have a big play, all right, like let's say week 1, Jordan Love has a 65-yard touchdown pass to Jaden Reed. I'd like to take that play, break it down, and just draw the play out and then throw it on Patreon. And we'll just say week 1 against so-and-so, right? And then week 2, big play happens. Take that play, break it down, and add it to that same post. So we got this running list throughout the season of, hey, here's some of the top plays of the season. and here was the actual play call. I
I
think
love
that,
it.
like a little mini playbook. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
right.
we'll see if
Top
we can-
play mini playbook. That's perfect.
Absolutely. So, again, Jordan Love, I feel like Jordan Love has had as good of an offseason as you can have, based off what Matt LaFleur has said. Like, he seems like he's been really crisp. We've seen them go Hardman.
See, is that Savion with the little hitch route right there?
Yeah, look at Savion in the red jersey. And watch the hands.
Plant. I love that. Ooh, who fell back there?
I'm eager to see how Savion responds to NFL coaching because, again, he's been at TCU. He's been kind of their gadget guy, wildcat quarterback, running back. When he played receiver, I felt like he'd done his contested catch is unbelievable. If you work him underneath and get him used to stuff like this, and refine his hands are going to be the biggest thing, right? Like his hands, I want to say his drop rate was 18% or something like that. It was pretty significant. So.
Yeah. I mean, hey, stuck his foot in the ground there. Hicks looks like he slipped a little bit on the pivot. So I'll take it, man. Wearing the red jersey, just getting some reps in there. Like we said, OTAs is no pads, nothing like that. Let's just get through it. Get the reps, learn what we want you to do. And then, as long as he's applying what the coaches were teaching him earlier on 2-3 weeks ago, whatever, as long as he's actually able to apply that into his reps, that's really all that matters. And Jay Love, right? He's getting married this summer. So he's got a big summer coming up.
He does, man. He does. I'm just so listen, Jordan Love can be a lot better. Don't get me wrong. And we've seen his best football is the second half of 2023. We've seen what he can be, what he can do. He can be that tractor, right? That truck that you attach the trailer to. You know what I'm talking about, Emilio. Daniel Jeremiah talks about it all the time. Are you a truck or are you a trailer? Or does he say tractor? Again,
no, he's yeah. You're a truck or a trailer.
Yeah. And what he means by that is if you're a truck, you're a player that the team hitches themselves to you and you make this thing go. If you're a trailer, say you're a part of it, right? You may not be, think of some of the quarterbacks that have had success in the past that haven't been just dominant MVP type candidate players. We've seen Jordan Love be the truck in the second half. 9 straight weeks in 2023, Jordan Love was the truck. What do you have? 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, I think it was. Just insane numbers, right? And of course, last year he's banged up. I don't need him to be a truck right now. I need him to be Brett Favre, like Brett Favre, the young Brett Favre 3 years in, where it's like, oh, okay, we got something here, right? Like make those plays, protect the football. That's where Brett screwed up a lot once he got past the 3 MVP seasons, obviously. But I just need the dude to go out there and protect the football, make the plays that are on the field, get to your check down on time. I think that's the one thing he needs to improve on the most is get to the check down on time. Don't wait too long. And I'll be real. Matt LaFleur took a lot of shots for Jordan Love last year where fans are going, Matt's he's always trying to bomb it deep on third down. We showed it time and time again where Jordan has a check down on third down and he's just choosing to bomb it,
Right.
So, and again, when he hits them, we love it. When he misses them, we're on Chalk Talk going, God, you got to take the check down, right?
Yeah, it's wide open underneath, and then you're looking at it, okay, his eyes were downfield, he's looking that up. So it's kind of, tough in between. Like you said, you're not asking Jordan to be a truck. Ron Sanville said Jordan's a truck, but clutch was just slipping a little bit last year. That's fair.
Perfect.
That's fair. I was thinking maybe he's the hitch, maybe he's the gooseneck holding the truck and trailer together. So he's that melt, but who's gonna be the truck, right? And I think that Matt LaFleur is just asking him to be a consistent truck if possible. So to Ron's point, we just need to get that clutch figured out. Maybe a little swap out, or just hit it with a little bit of grease or something. We'll get moving.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. When you talk about a gooseneck and something that's kind of playing a pivotal role in a task in a season.
He's holding a lot of weight back. I mean, Clay, that hitch has got a lot of pressure on it, man.
That thing goes.
That trailer's loaded. We're in for a world of hurt.
If you want to know someone who's got experience, Bub, I've been going down the interstate and sparks flying off a trailer. You know what I mean? That has happened to time or 12, the old Clay dog here. I promise you. But when you talk about someone who could play a pivotal role, think back to 2010. Who was the running back the year they won the Super Bowl in 2010? Do you remember, Emilio?
My boy,
James Starks, right?
Master James Starks.
If you had said going into that year with Ryan Grant on the roster, if you just said James Starks is going to be, the running back that helps this thing go, and you're going to go win a championship, we would have looked at you like you had 3 heads, right? Well, I'm wondering if maybe Marshawn Lloyd can be
Ooh.
that dude this year, right? I don't know about you guys, but any of this camp footage that we've seen, anytime they show him in a drill, we were talking about Bo Melton's feet in that drill earlier.
Yep.
Marshawn Lloyd's footwork is like, whoa. And again, this is the guy that Matt LaFleur referred to as that little rocket in the backfield, right? Like he was really excited about Marshawn Lloyd. I love Emmanuel Wilson. The fact that Marshawn Lloyd and Emmanuel Wilson are going to be battling for that backup spot gets me absolutely fired up. He met with the media earlier today. Matt Schneidman put this 28-second clip out. Again, I apologize for the volume, but he said, Matt Schneidman said, Packers 2024 third-round pick Marshawn Lloyd played only one game last season due to multiple injuries. Now the running back says he's been 100% for some time now. Let's see what he had to say.
Where are you physically right now?
So where am I physically?
Yeah, right now.
I'm doing good, really good. Running, can run as fast as I can jump as high as I want, can catch the ball. I'm doing pretty good.
How long have you been kind of 100%? Obviously,
100%. It's been some time now. I've been doing things before I was doing team. I was doing things on the side, just taking things slower. But it's been good, being able to be back fully in the practice.
Where are you
Amelia, this is a dude
physically right now?
that Daniel Jeremiah had as his top running back in the draft last year.
I forget about that, Clay. I really do.
And I did not have him there, right? This was my list of running backs last year. Okay. I had Trey Benson. I think this is the right one. Let me make sure. Yeah. I had Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Jonathan Brooks,
Right.
Audric Estime, Bucky Irvin, Sweet Baby Ray Davis, and then Marshawn Lloyd. So I had Lloyd as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh best running back in the draft. And again, Daniel Jeremiah, DJ was very vocal about that. This is my best running back in the draft. It'd been real easy to go, let's just change that real quick, but we didn't. We stayed true to our board. When you have a former NFL scout say this is the best running back in the draft, and we haven't even got a chance to see him yet, that's really exciting.
Dude, and the fact that it's that and more of like a hidden piece on our offense. It's something that's kind of been sitting in the wayside. It's nothing's on tape. The team can't be prepping for it. It's something that we can kind of sprinkle in throughout the year as he's getting better. Maybe he gets a lot. Maybe he gets the whole kit and caboodle. Maybe Matt's got him out there 25 plays from week one. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that having the ability to sprinkle in some sort of speed and, deception, I think that's huge. We're going to have that speed in the wide receiver room. We're going to have speed in the running back room. Is Tuck and Musgrave back? We're going to get a little bit more speed in the tight end room. This team is becoming faster by the minute. Christian comes back. We're going to have to figure out what to do with the extra wide receiver who gets moved around, but we're going to have so much speed on this team that Matt's got to be just, licking his lips, right?
Mm-hmm. Robert in the chat, Robert Bertana says this running back group is solid. I completely agree. It really does look like that, right? And Ed Madden in the chat says we do seem to have a lot of good depth at a lot of positions. I love that he said we'll find out, because right now we feel like that, right? Yep. But like I think it was it Ron Wolf that used to say, you're just a couple sprained ankles away from going from being really deep in a room to being really, really shallow. Right.
And that's where we're saying, hey, we have three corners. Hey, we have, 4 linebackers or 5 linebackers. We have a couple of D linemen. We have 10 offensive, and it's like, yeah, we do. One injury, one setback, one this, one that. That's where the decisions will get made. For some of them will be made before training camp's over, but then some of them we need to make sure we have ready to go for the season, because you never know what's going to happen in season either.
Yep. And I'll tell you a position you don't have to be deep at. You just need one guy, and that's the kicker position, obviously. Rob Demovsky said if Brandon McManus made a 58-yard field goal, Matt LaFleur would end the last mini camp practice early, and he nailed it. LaFleur then brought outgoing team president Mark Murphy in to break down the huddle. We'll talk about that comment here in a second. But here's a video. I can't play the sound because there's music with it, but this was a short clip that the Packers tweeted out earlier today of McManus hitting that. So imagine all the teammates, right? They're all gathered around. Like, he hits this, we go home early. We're done, right? Check this kick out. Watch everybody's reaction. This is awesome, man. Look at everybody watching. Well, look at Christian. Christian looks good, boys. I'm telling you, he's in a good spot.
Yes. That right there, camaraderie.
Yes.
With the whole team, it's one of those where you're putting pressure on McManus by having the entire team 3 feet away from him. You're never going to have that many people lined up right next to him in a kick. You know, he's going to be solo. Have everybody there, have that excitement. Dude, the pressure's on. It's kind of like when, you know, you're running those pyramid drills, you're running the sprints, whatever it was, dude jumps off sides on a, you know, we're going on 2, he still jumps off and you got to reset. That's the opposite here. McManus banging that 58-yarder and ending practice.
58-yard. I mean, that's not a chip. That's nothing near a chip shot.
No,
right?
nope.
How cool is it
Calm, cool, collected.
that we ain't got to worry about kicker? And again, I'm not expecting him to kick in the 90 percentile again at field goal percentage, right? I'm expecting it to drop into the 80s. But thank God the year of the 60% seemed to be over, right? Like
Yep.
that's beyond us here. And I wanted to point this out because, Emilio, if I were to say McManus, where do you think McManus's performance last year ranks in terms of, like, if you were to take everybody in the history of the Packers and their field goal percentage at kicker, right? And then you take McManus's field goal percentage from last year, where do you think it would rank? You think it'd be top 3, top 5, top 10 in the history of the Packers have been kicking field goals for a long time?
Yeah, that's tough.
Because I don't think people talk enough about how good of a season he actually had. But where do you think it would rank? Top 3?
I'd have to say he's top 10. I would give him, let's say we'll give him top 5, give him the 5th position. You got Ryan Longwell, you got Mason Crosby, and that's about all the kickers that I've been around for.
Right. So here is the all-time field goal percentage for the Green Bay Packer kickers. Okay, you ready for this? Now, you might be kind of surprised here. This is career-wise, okay? And keep in mind, McManus has only been here 1 year. 95.2% field goal percentage. The next closest one is Anders Carlson at 81.8%. And then you've got Ryan Longwell, 81.6, Mason Crosby, 81.4.
Wow.
And then you've got Chris Jackie coming in there. He obviously played in the 90s, 77.2. And then, of course, Braden. So this is by season, isn't it? So let's see here. And so Anders Carlson, that was in 2023, his field goal percentage. Now, again, the Anders Carlson thing was the missed extra points, if you'll remember that. Right?
Yep.
87.2% on the extra point percentage.
And McManus was 100%.
100%. If you were to take this, right, this is all-time best seasons by a kicker. And I've sorted it by field goal percentage. McManus had the best year of any field goal kicker in the history of the Green Bay Packers. Now, keep in mind, it was how many attempts? It was only 21 attempts. He made 20 of 21, right? And when you go to like Ryan Longwell, that's showing his career field goal percentage there. So it is kind of weird how this is structured. So it's saying from and to. So this is career, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's career. I mean, look,
you've got – yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's career.
You got John Anderson, the left outside linebacker, hitting a 30 to 39-yarder in somewhere in between the 78 and 89 season, and he went 2 for 1 on extra points. I love that.
Some of these names. Hey, look, how about Jerry Kramer down here? 53.7% kicking field goals. Let's go, dude. But again, man, I don't think some fans understand just how good of a season McManus had. And again, I do not expect him to kick 95% this year. I do not see that happening. But if he's hovering around 90, look out, boys.
And 100% on extra points, you're happy, right?
Yeah. And again, I think people were kind of probably surprised that Braden Arbus, or Anders Carlson, I should say, has the second highest field goal percentage in the history of the Green Bay Packers, right? Again, though, when you look at the field goals attempted and made or what have you, what is the total there? Does it give you the actual total? It's got it broken down.
Yeah, field goals attempted 33, made 27. So he missed 6 of them, and none of the misses were it looks like he started missing in the 40s, right? 40 to 49, he missed 4 of them. 50 plus, he missed 2 of those. So
I would not have thought that he had a higher field goal percentage than Ryan Longwell.
Right. No, me neither. Or Mason Crosby, right? I mean, it's not like they're that far off, right? He's got 0.2 of a point that's keeping him above them. But, I mean, you scroll down there, look at Paul Hornung.
I love it.
Poor guy was 47.1%. They had him kicking everything.
Yeah. How about Don Hudson, a steady 41%?
I mean, everyone's got the extra points down, though, you know?
Did Curly ever kick? I would imagine Curly Lambeau kicked at some point, but Maybe it was before we could keep up. I don't know. That's just so cool to go back in time and look at that stuff. So again, man, when it comes to McManus, I'm just telling you, dude. Like we need to thank the good Lord above that we got McManus as our kicker,
Right.
Because it was just the other day we were all upset about Anders Carlson being the kicker, and he's still the second highest field goal percentage in the history. Now, again, the game's changed. We got that. I understand it. The field goal percentages are much higher today than they were back then. But pretty wild, though. McManus, I'm just glad he's here for the next few years for sure.
Right. And just hats off. Do you still have that up?
I do not. I just
Okay. Hats off to Mason Crosby. 700 field goals attempted and 1,300 kickoffs. That man was just swinging his leg for this team. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. All right, we're going to wrap it up with a little Mark Murphy talk. We'll just kind of bring it home here.
Nice.
Really, what is this? H.E. Soder. Is it Jan Steenrud and Sweet Leather Jacket? What is this? He's saying he had a sweet leather jacket?
Ooh.
Or is he saying that kind of sounds like a band, doesn't it?
I got a duster. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, you and that duster. So
65%. 65%. That's what
they let Mark Murphy break it down here at the end of practice. I love the way he broke it down too, guys. How cool would it be? I'll let the video play and then we'll talk about it. All right. Here's Mark Murphy breaking down the final mini. This is his final mandatory mini camp, right? As he is now turning the reins over at the shareholders meeting here in July. He's going to be turning everything over to Ed Policy. Here was what Mark Murphy had to say breaking it down.
Everybody knows that Mark Murphy, after 17 years, is retiring. He's the only man that's won a Super Bowl as a player and as a CEO, right?
believed to be.
Well, I believe it, Mark. But I'll tell you what, he changed my life. He's changed a lot of people's lives for the better around here. He's a great leader, but an even better man. And he is the epitome of what it means to be a Green Bay Packer. So I thought it was appropriate. He'll be the last one to address our team as the president.
No, thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it. I'll be very brief, but I tell you, I've been around the NFL a long time. As a player, and certainly 18 years here.
Led the league in interceptions one year, by the way, and won a Super Bowl, I believe. I think he, whether it was a Super Bowl or not, they got the championship that strike shortened season.
Right.
I really sense something special with this team, and hopefully you see the same thing. And the last thing I'd say, you have to believe it to achieve it. 1, 2, 3. Super Bowl!
That's all.
Love that they broke it down that way. Super Bowl, right? And then, of course, Matt Schneidman put this tweet out, and I thought this was just – Matt Schneidman is one of my favorite reporters that covers the team, man. He brings a sense of humor. He's always hitting on the important stuff. Look at this shot right here of Mark Murphy, right? It says, Mark Murphy walking through the Lambeau Tunnel. The helmet he's holding is filled with signatures from the team.
Wow.
His 17-year tenure as Packers president ends next month when he reaches his mandatory retirement age of 70. Murphy broke down the huddle with the 1-2-3 Super Bowl after the last practice before summer break today. Look at that shot right there. How cool is that, man?
Dude.
I love it.
And he's probably choked up a little bit there, man. I mean, for the team, camaraderie comes back to camaraderie again, man. You have Mark Murphy who's down there talking to the team, being active, seeing everybody. Got Goody down there on the field, and everybody wants to break it down and give it out to the president that brought the draft here. Robert Bertrand, thanks for the draft, Murphy.
Yes,
did that, brought so much to this title town, all that to this team, and all he wants is the best for everybody there, right? It's not like he's asking for extra recognition or, to put my name on the stadium, anything like that, man. He just loved his job and loved, being around people and doing what he did.
Yeah. And again, Robert hit the nail on the head. If it wasn't for Mark Murphy, we would never have had a draft. I remember when they started talking about trying to get a draft in Green Bay, how many of the people covering the team were like, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. And Mark Murphy battled and battled and battled and got it done. And
Yep.
and you got to see Titletown this time, right, Amelia? You got to experience that firsthand. What about that place, dude? Is that not amazing?
Dude, I mean, the fact that that was all built up, because I never saw it beforehand, right? So I just love that pizza, Clay. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that wood fire! Come on now, that was fire. So Mark Murphy, man, hats off to you. Glad that you can bring in that family aspect to the Packers, which is what it's all about, right? Bring it, year round, sledding hill, all of that stuff. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, and over in our Patreon group, the questions for the show, comments for the show, that section there. If you guys want to be a part of the show and contribute, $3, you're a member of the Patreon group, you get access to the questions for the show. Andy Monday, one of my favorite listeners of the show, said our oldest and youngest got to meet the president today as he came out of today's last mini camp. So how about that? Getting a picture of Mark Murphy coming out of his last mini camp with his sons, with Andy's sons, and look at what he's holding, the helmet.
That's crazy.
Like, how cool is that? Andy Monday, dude, that picture right there, dude. That is something to have framed. I mean, that is just that's so freaking cool. So, and then Dave Colvin over here in the questions for the show, comments for the show says, what do you think having a bold predictions section in the chat? Mine would be Tucker Kraft, the Yak Master, to be the Green Bay Packers' first 1,000-yard receiving tight end. I don't think I think that's doable. I do, man. I love that idea of having bold predictions. So we need to get creative in the chat over on Patreon and get some topics like that put together. So,
I like it.
What do you think? You think Tucker Kraft can hit 1,000 yards? I think it's totally doable, man.
I think that's totally possible because he was talking about getting more involved. Jay Love was talking about getting him more involved. Kraft was talking about being able to, go up the seam and to be able to add so many aspects to his game. I think that it's 100% doable. But think about it like that. Tucker Kraft could potentially be a third or a fourth of all of Jay Love's passing yards, right? Mm-hmm. So that's wild to think. That dude is an important part of this team. We need to keep an eye on him. We need to make sure, he's got a good head and ready to work, which he does. But just we need to keep an eye on him all year, see how he's feeling, see his any injuries, anything like that, and just kind of keep tabs.
Yeah. Andy Monday in the chat says, thanks for sharing that picture. It was really great to see a familiar face. Hey, no, thank you for sharing it, man. Because again, Andy, I don't know if you realize like that. What I would do if I were you, I would get a big frame and I would get that picture that Matt Schneiden tweeted out of him holding that helmet, walking down the tunnel.
Walking on.
Have that picture of your boys and him holding that same helmet. That's priceless, dude. Absolutely priceless.
One for each of them. Yeah. Put a two for together. Yeah. That's a perfect, Christmas gift? Birthday gift, something like that.
Absolutely. All right. Good stuff, man. Again, thanks for sharing that, Andy. Emilio, you got anything else you want to hit on, Bub? Anything at all?
No, I think that's it. Matt had a presser that you can dive into. We still need to figure out the media team, right? We'll get a set of mics in there. Or maybe once they're done remodeling there at Green Bay, we can remodel the media room and we'll be golden.
Yeah.
Besides that, man, I'm excited. It's crazy that now we got some of that dead time rolling in. I really still want to dive into those third downs like we were talking. Put them on a video reel. Let's see why we struggled in third down, either conversions or defense. We can kind of maybe look at both and just some of the things that maybe the team's doing or the coaches have done in the past. Let's sort of dive through it, see where we struggled, even if we want to take a peek at fourth downs and just kind of run through them all, see where we're at.
I think what we could probably do is
NFL Pro it.
We could NFL Pro it. It'll throw a copyright, but we might have to do it exclusively to Rumble or something, and then I could try to edit it to where we could upload it to YouTube somehow, some way. Okay. But I think that's huge because I can literally go to NFL Pro and just check third down, and it'll pull every third down snap up. That would be the easiest way to route it through. So now, if you want to narrow it down to all the third down incompletions and interceptions,
no, I kind of want to go through. I'd rather just watch them all. Let's see. All right, we did well on this. We didn't do well on this. What happened on this coverage? Where did we blitz here? What was the down and distance? What was the time on the clock? Stuff like that.
Yeah, got it. Ed Madden says, thanks, guys. It's been a great show. Everyone have a great evening. Thank you, Ed Madden. Appreciate you, buddy, for hopping in here and being a part of it. The chat was just awesome tonight. I mean, we had a huge crowd in here as it's June the 12th.
Yep.
And we got a packed house. This is just, man, absolutely awesome. Brambo said, I made a 36x20 canvas print of Jacob's stiff arming honey badger for my son's birthday. Turned out
so awesome.
That is the hardest pick in the history of the pack. I'm just telling you, man, the way he's lifting him off the ground. By the way, we've got a Josh Jacobs chalk talk queued up, ready to go. And that made the cut. What I did was I removed all the touchdowns and just tried to find the explosive plays that weren't touchdowns, because we've seen the touchdowns over and over and over, right? So I think that would be cool to kind of dive into that. And you guys are going to love to see that stiff arm too, man. It's just awesome. So, all right, let's get out of here, man. Appreciate you, Emilio. This was fun. Shout out to Mac. See y'all in the chat. Thank y'all for hopping in here this evening. Don't forget, guys, we're raising money for a great cause. If you go to my Twitter account at Packers_access, you'll see a tweet pinned at the top of the page. You'll have a link in there, givebutter.com/KRPSJ5. For every $5 you donate, you're entered in the contest one time to win an autographed Dorsey Levens jersey that's on the screen right here. Again, that's my Autism Connection, building hope, community, and independence for autistic adults. Also, if you want to support the show, the best way to do so is join our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. Really easy to use, really cool interface. You get an app. It's just like this huge platform. It's essentially a Packers Total Access website is what it is. And again, we're going to be doing all kinds of playbook stuff in there this year, chalk talks, all that. If you want to go back and kind of walk back through the draft information that we uncovered leading up through the process, all that's still in there. Everything that we posted article-wise will stay up there all time. So really appreciate everybody who's joining in there. And it also enters you into giveaways, which we're going to be giving away an awesome autographed Romeo Doubs card, a rising stock card. Really, really cool piece of memorabilia. Anybody who's a member of the $3 tier on Patreon, which is the cheapest tier we got there, $3 get you access to everything. That'll put you into that giveaway. We're going to be giving away this card on Saturday, most likely. Either Saturday
I just caught the ball.
We'll be doing that either on Saturday or Sunday. Amelia, I might be down your way on Saturday. We're thinking about taking a trip to Knoxville. And, going down there and hanging out around Neyland a little bit for the day and grabbing lunch and stuff like that. So
we'll have to link up maybe.
Yeah, I'll see how it goes here. You know how it is, man. It's Saturday morning, I hit, and I'll be like, I ain't leaving.
And it's storming right now, Clay, so you got to go to mow the first yard tomorrow and bury the mower in the ditch because it's soaking wet.
Oh, yeah. No doubt, man. Anyway. All right, appreciate everybody. Hit that like on the way out. Feel free to sub to the channel if you're new here. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go Packers.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.